Oh, what's this thing hanging here? Anybody notice this? What that is? Oh. It says to Grace Church, message, we are sorry we missed you. We have a package to deliver to you. We'll try again Sunday, December 4th. Signed by GPS. Oh, God's Postal Service. Date, November 27th. I think that's today at 6:30 a.m. Wasn't anybody here at 6:30 a.m. to get the package? Don't you just hate it when you get one of those little green slips in the mail and it says there's a package, we couldn't deliver it, so you'll have to come to the post office. It's too late to go to the post office, so I've got to wait till tomorrow, or it's Friday, I've got to wait till Monday to go see what that package is. Well, apparently, somebody tried to deliver a package here to us today, and there was nobody here to receive it, so now they're going to wait till next Sunday. We've got to wait till next Sunday to get the package. I think you better be here next Sunday to see what this package is. I think it's going to be a surprise. Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Waiting. How many of you like to wait? How many of you go to the grocery store, or you go up to one of the stores up in St. Cloud, not on Black Friday, but just any other day, and you get what you want in your basket, and you go to the checkout line, and there's 3 of the 29 lights are lit up, so there's only 3 open, and you go, and there's like 5 people in every one of them. And how many of you then say, oh, good, I get to wait? Isn't that, it's exciting. I want to pick the one with the longest line so I can wait the longest. Is that anybody here? How many of you go, oh, darn it again? Wonder which one. Who looks like, they're going to take all day, and who can I sleep? No, we don't like to wait. Waiting has become a thing that we abhor it as much as we abhor solitude and silence. And yet waiting and solitude and silence are all a part of what the Advent season is about. It's about taking time to be alone. It's taking time to be quiet. And it's all about waiting. When we lit the Advent, just in your mind now, as we go through the service and sing some of the Advent hymns, and how many times we use the word wait? We used it in the lighting of the Advent candle. Now the wait has begun. Advent is a time of waiting. Not a part of our culture. And now we got to wait for this present to come. Today the topic is when. Next week, by the way, it's going to be what. The next week, it's who. And then we skip a week because we have the cantata. And then on Christmas Day, it's going to be why. Very simple sermon titles. Today, it's about when. When is that package going to come? How long is it until Christmas, the kids will ask. Kids can be impatient, but so can we as adults. We want to know when. Now, it's hard enough when you know the date. December 25th, 4 weeks from today. If you just caught your breath, then you need to listen to this sermon today. It's not that bad. But 4 weeks from today is December 25th. And we know the date, and yet it's hard to wait. How much harder it is to wait for something when we don't know when it's going to happen? You think of some times in your life when something was going to happen, but you didn't know quite when it was. How about the experience of birth? Now, I know in today's world, technology, some people say, well, I know the day and the hour when I will give birth. I'm scheduled to go in on Friday the 15th and at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the baby will be born about 10 o'clock, and that's, but that doesn't happen very often. Most of the time, we're not sure when that moment is going to happen. And so we're waiting with great expectation, and yet we're kind of off balance because we don't know exactly when. I remember when our firstborn came into the world, that was quite an event for us. We didn't know. Of course, the first one is always a little bit more exciting because you're not quite sure. I mean, they're going to come early, going to be late. When Beth was born, I remember the night that she was born, actually it was in the morning, and Barb was in the bathroom having cramps. And we said, are these labor pains? Well, not quite sure, but But if they are, the doctor said when the labor pains are 5 minutes apart, you better come on in. And since they were only 3 minutes apart, we thought we still had time because, you know, we had to wait until they were 5 minutes apart. That's, you know, it was fun. It's always exciting, isn't it, to give birth to. But on the other end of life, that's the other event that we don't know. Trying to imagine who in the world knows the precise moment when they will die. Probably somebody who's on death row, and all of the attempts to them out failed, and the warden said, it's, you know, midnight or 12:01 on the 15th, you know, we're going to pull the switch, and you know exactly. But how many of us, and we don't have that privilege of knowing the exact moment of our death. Some people are close to it, and they can feel it. I've ministered to people who say, I know the time is near. But none of us knows. Scripture Day said no one knows the day and the hour. Now, some people have misinterpreted that and understand that in different ways, but I have always understood that to mean that each of us has our appointed time. How about that? Well, that's when Jesus is going to return. I say Jesus will return for all of us when we die. No one knows the day or the hour when that will happen. We're waiting, but not with a great deal of expectation either. I think we put it off. We put that one off. We don't even think about that one. The day of birth, we think about the day of death. We don't think about that one. But it's one of those dates that's out there. We don't know when it is. Well, you could probably think of some other examples, too, in your life where something was going to happen, but you weren't quite sure exactly when it was going to happen. Uncle Joe was going to come visit when you were a kid, and you weren't sure exactly what day he was coming. And, you know, there's that building up to the excitement. Well, that's the way it was in the early Jesus movement. Now, let me just say that in the early Jesus movement, there were a lot of different branches of thought. The one that we're most familiar with is what we would call the Pauline branch of the Jesus movement, because we have Paul's writings. But there was also the Johannian branch, and there were other branches. But within the Pauline branch, Paul taught, especially early in his ministry, he taught of the imminent return of Jesus. He thought that Jesus was going to come back to earth in a very short while, before he died, Paul died. I don't know what the other branches of the Jesus movement thought, if they thought the same thing or not, but certainly within that branch. Now, Paul began, as he grew older, began to understand that maybe that wasn't correct. But there was that high expectation early in the movement that Jesus is going to come very soon. And Advent is a time when we try to, there's a number of things we try to incorporate within Advent. We talk about the prophets and the coming of the Christ child and the stories leading up to the birth, and we talk about John the Baptist and the events leading up to the ministry of Jesus, but also incorporated in Advent is this time to think about the fact that Jesus promised he'd come back again sometime. But Jesus did not say when. He did not give us a date. And so we wait in expectation, just as they waited in the early church. If they had told them in the early church, well, you know, it's going to be at least 2,000 more years, they would have said, you're nuts. It's going to happen soon. There's a couple things we can learn from this. A couple things we ought to learn from this, especially as we get ready to celebrate Christmas. The first thing we learn is that we need to rely on God's timing, not our own. We can't play God, even though we would like to. We would love to be able to determine dates and times. We're used to getting our own way, aren't we? In our culture, in this part of the world, we can pretty much have anything we want, and we can pretty much have it any time we want. We're raising generations of people who think that everything revolves around them. We live in a hedonistic culture right now. We live in a culture that's materialistically oriented and where people think they have a right to whatever they want. And if they have to pepper spray you in the face to get it first, they'll do it. You didn't hear the story out of California. Black Friday. I hope I'm not stepping on any toes here. I'm sure some of you were in line at 11 o'clock at night waiting, or whenever it was. But there's that mentality that it's mine. And it branches over into our timing. Everything revolves around me, and it'll be on my time. Well, you know what? It doesn't revolve around you, and it's not about your timing. It's about God's timing. God has a timing for